Good morning, and welcome to Naturally Kim's Knitting. Yes, I realize it's not morning everywhere. I've mentioned before, my husband greets everybody that way. Anyways, my name is Kim. I can be found on Ravelry as Napier's Designs. Had to think for a minute. And our group can be found under Ravelry under Naturally Kim's Knitting. Um, I want to welcome everybody who's come back to watch again. I love you guys. You're wonderful. And anybody who is brand new to this podcast, I want to welcome you too. Please come to my Ravelry Naturally Kim's Knitting page and introduce yourself. After I have 10 members introduce themselves on there, I'm going to have a drawing for some special yarn. So please, I would love to have you sign in there. Um, that would be the only way that you'd be able to take part in any drawings that I have and any knit-alongs. I do have a knit-along going on right now, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to close it before long because I'm the only one that's entered anything. So please go, if you've knit anything for charity during this month, please go ahead and put in a photo and just a basic description about it, and you'll be in for a drawing. Okay? Which I will be doing, my goodness, this is the 27th. Oh my goodness. So I will be doing it beginning of next month, like on May 1st. Today is April 27th. My hubby's birthday's in 2 days. Happy birthday, hubby. Anyways, not going to say how old he is. Let me just say that Prince, when he passed, rest his soul, was the same age as my husband's going to be. So, enough said about that. Anyways, let's see, was there anything else about that I needed to say? I wanted to let everybody know that I am an affiliate with Knit Picks Yarn and Needles and things. If you are interested in buying anything from there, please just click on one of my links, go to their store, and I will get credit for that, which that's going to help pay for postage for things and new equipment for the podcast. I'm also affiliated with Amazon. So if you want to purchase anything from Amazon, just go to Naturally Kim's Knitting and click on one of the links in my show notes. That's under Blogger or WordPress. It should take you right to Amazon, and you can shop there. And once again, that pays for postage and prizes and equipment, whatever. I am hoping to buy a tablet from Amazon that I'll be able to use when I travel to California, so that I won't have to stop podcasting when I'm at the. I'm sorry. I took my shower, dried and styled my hair, and then my puppy needed to go outside. And there's enough of a breeze that it kind of made my hair a mess. Anyway, so I'm affiliates with both Amazon and with Knit Picks. And then if you go to my Blogger page, you will notice that there's a little PayPal button up there. Anybody who might want to donate to this podcast, that money will also go directly to prizes or postage or whatever. It does get expensive to pay for postage and for prizes, or if you know of anybody, or if you would like to donate prizes for drawings, I would love to have that. I think that's it for that. Now I'm gonna mention here at the beginning where you can find me at. You can find me on Ravelry, like I said, as under Naturally Kim's Knitting is the group's name. Napier's Knits is my individual name. Twitter at KSNapier475, Instagram as Knittin_Kim, on YouTube, Naturally Kim's Knitting or Kimberly Napier, WordPress, all one word, Naturally Kim's Knitting .wordpress.com, and on Blogger, on Naturally Kim's Knitting. So you can find me on any of those. I would love to hear from you. I love it when I click on something and I see, ooh, I've had this many viewers from here today. And it's just fun for me to do. I know, I'm a little weird like that, but that's just me. Anyways, I think that's it for this section. I'm going to go on to what's on the needles. Okay, this is the part of the show where I like to talk to you about what I've been working on this past week. I will warn you, I'm probably going to be drinking some of my peppermint mocha, no, yeah, peppermint mocha tea, because I'm a little dry this morning. Anyways, as I told you last week, I had to restart my Reisu Katabira kimono for my daughter, and I've been able to finish the back and both sides. This is the lacy pattern. I don't know if you can really see it, but that's the lacy pattern. And today I'm going to cast on the sleeves. This is what it will hopefully look like when I am done. I do need to block those. I'm thinking I'm going to block those today too. These are worked in the Bernat Cottonish Seersucker colorway. I believe I got that from Mary Maxim. I'm not sure, but I think that's where I did. And the main part of the sweater is worked in US 9, 5.5 millimeters, 24-inch circulars, and then the edging is going to be done in a US 7, 4.5 millimeter circular needles for the edging. That's what I had gotten wrong before. I had worked everything out on US 7s, except for my swatch. I don't know how I did it, but, you know, oh well. That's over and done with. Now, the next thing that I'm working on, sorry, I had to think for a second. I'm working on one of Cece's French Vanilla Cappuccino socks. I've made it, I just made it past the heel last night, as you can see. Isn't that a pretty colorway? This is from a sock blank that I got from Gail's Art in April Showers. I put the wrong name on my show notes. I got to put that down. This is April Showers. And this would have been the clouds. And then you can see how, you know, in here would have been some raindrops and then flowers. And it's going to be so gorgeous. I know the last socks that I worked up from her sock blank. I loved them. They were just so gorgeous. Now these are worked on size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. I always have to look at my show notes for millimeters. I'm one of those that I've never learned metric. So I always have to look, or I have to ask my husband to convert, because he's really good at that. Now I have not worked on any of my 10-stitch blanket this week or last week, I don't believe. So I'm not going to show that to you because I've not made any progress. Hopefully I'll get there, but I keep casting on new things. Okay, the next thing that I have on my needles is another child's chemo cap. You can see I've made this. This is all out of Knit Picks Swish yarn. And there's a yellow and a black and a brown that I'm making the brim. I'm sorry. The brim in this yellow again. So it'll be topped in, the top and the bottom will be in yellow. So I'm liking this one because I'm thinking some little boy's going to like to have that on his head. Or a girl. You never know. Anyways, this was, like I said, DK Swish. I've not worked this out with DK before, but it's just going to make it a looser stitch, which I think will be nice. Depending where they're at, they may not want heavy on their head, so this will be nice. And it was used in I knit this in US 6, 4.5 millimeters. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, a new, I have to apologize because I started working in pair of socks last week. I was going to work every sock out of Coffee with Cece. She has, this is 7 sock patterns and a shawl pattern. You can see them all on the back. And I was going to work, well, let's see, get my fingers right. This one right here. But my little arthritic fingers would not allow me to do that stitch. It was just causing me more frustrations than it was worth. Sorry about that. I have birds that like to be kamikaze birds. So far they haven't knocked themselves unconscious. Anyways, so I had to give up on that one. And instead, I am now doing her peppermint mocha. But I've just gotten, this is what it looks like up close. But I've just got started on it. I don't know why I felt like I had to put on another pair of socks. But I did. These will be for the soup kitchen when I'm done. Or for the men's shelter. I've just made it through the toes, as you can see. This was made with Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. You can see the little tweed flecks through there. Anyways, colorway is Thirst Heather. And I worked these on size 1, 2.25 millimeters. I just got my replacement needles. If you remember last week, I told you somehow one of my tips on one of these needles got broke. And so when I'd like to work 2 at a time, I like to have the extra long needle. So I just got this, and the minute I did, I cast on those socks. So that's my peppermint mocha. Oh, and then the last thing, it's not in my show notes yet because this is my tribute to my mother shawl using these 3 colors. These are all Tofutsi. Tofutsi's yarn from Southwest Trading Company, or SWTC. Let's see what I can tell you about these. This is a 50% superwash wool, 25% soy silk fibers, 2.25% cotton, and 2.5% chitin, which is the exoskeletons, how do they put that, from shrimp and crab shells, which you would think would make it feel rough. No. It actually has healing properties to it, and it's a natural antibacterial. Like I said, this comes from Southwest Trading Company. I used to be a pattern tester for them, and I got these as payment for my work, and so I'm making a shawl to my mother out of this. I am looking for pattern testers. If anybody'd be interested in pattern testing a shawl, let me know. I will be putting it on Ravelry to be pattern tested, but anybody who watches the show that would like to, let me know, and let me know how long you've been knitting and what kind of things you like to knit. Okay? So that'll be, it's going to be, you know it's a shawl, you know it's a tribute to my mother, but I'm not going to show you the pattern until it's done. So I am getting closer and closer to it, but I'm not there yet. Okay, I believe that's it for what's on the needles. We'll be going to my finished objects. Welcome back. Excuse me. This is the part of the show where I like to tell you about the things that I have finished making this week. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is one of my top-down child's chemo caps. This was worked in Knit Picks Worsted Chroma. Get Your Neon colorway, and I worked this on US 6 4.5 millimeters. Don't you? I just love those colors. It has a hot pink up here, which I just love. And I love how it gradually changes into the yellow, and it's just really pretty. I like this a lot. So, I've lost count. I have to go back and count and see how many chemo caps that is now. Anyways, my second object that I finished this week was Cece's French Vanilla Cappuccino socks. This was done in a yarn that is no longer available. It's the Fortissima Socca in Kariba color. I worked these on US 1 2.5 millimeters. I love the way it worked up. It always fascinates me, and maybe I'm a little bit geeky about this, but I love it when you're working with self-patterning yarns to see what pattern is going to pop up next. Those will be going to the soup kitchen. I felt like maybe they were a little bit too girly to send to the men's rescue mission, so I thought I'd send it to the soup kitchen, where they also have women and girls show up there. Now, 2 things that I did tell you that I was going to work on next week, part of Naturally Kim's knitting, was deodorant powder and tooth powder. And I did. I made those last week. I didn't need to make my shampoo yet. But I wanted to show you the recipes for the deodorant powder and tooth powder I got from this book. This is Earthly Bodies and Heavenly Hair. And it's by Dina Falconi. And there are many, many recipes in here. It is such a great book. I mean, they have recipes in here for taking care of your face, lips, mouth. I'm just leafing through. Shampoos, like I said, and healthy scalp. Whole body treatments like body packs and Oh, just goes on. Bath oils, um, herbal baths, body splashes, body lotions. The deodorant powder, like I said, is in here, which I didn't think I would like a deodorant powder, but it actually works better than anything else I've tried. So I'm loving it. And then they have something section for on your hands and feet, or taking care of them, especially for women. So of course they have especially for women. They have to have especially for men, especially for teens, especially for babies, because there are certain things that should not be used on babies. It should always be checked out before you do. But they have baby powders, baby baths, baby oils, um, baby emollients, balms and salves, herbal sleep pillow, diaper rash medicine. So great. And then, of course, the opposite, with the babies on the other spectrum is especially for elders. So wonderful, wonderful book. Oh, and natural first aid. How can I forget that? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'll have to make some. Plantain is something almost everybody has growing in their yard, and it is like one of the best natural healers out there. So I need to make sure to keep an eye out for that and see about getting some. Anyways, both the recipes for the deodorant powder and the tooth powder can be found in that book. If you click on the link in my show notes, it will take you to the book in Amazon so that you can check it out for yourself. That has been all that I have finished this week. So next is going to be things that make me happy. So I'll be right back. Okay, things that have made me happy. There are so many things that make me happy in a week. I tell you, we have had wonderful, wonderful weather. I've been able to go out and plant my herb garden, which is really risky because it's still April. I don't like to do that until May because we do get killing frost sometimes in before Mother's Day in Ohio, but hopefully. Anyway, so I planted those. I planted some flowers for our bees. I brought out some tomato plants that I've started. Um, we've had some great weather for that. And then today it looks like it's going to be a rainy day. So hopefully all those things will get watered in nicely. Um, I'm hoping one of these days I'll have some pictures of my garden that I'll be able to put in the podcast. Excuse me. I'm not sure if I will or not, but we'll have to see if I can sometime. Other than that, other things that have made me happy, I've told you how I review books for the Christian Book Club Network. Excuse me, my dog is barking at something. Um, which can be found at www.bookfun.org. And this month, I had just signed up for this on Monday, in fact. Oh my goodness, it's got a little tear in it. I'm going to give this book to my granddaughter, but it's called What a Bragger. And of course, it has fish. This takes place under the sea. This is written by Leanne Mancini and illustrated by Dan Sharp. I should tell you, this was awarded Reader's Favorite for Illustration and Reader's Favorite for Book Award finalist. And it's also a Mom's Choice Award honoring excellence. So I just want to show you some of these illustrations. They are so, so cute. And the pufferfish is the one that's all puffed up and brags all the time about having the best toys and having, meeting celebrities and all this stuff. And one of her little friends, Corey, doesn't believe that these things are true. So he went home and he told his mom. And his mom goes, well, asked him, well, why do you think that she acts like that? And he goes, I don't think she knows how to be a friend. And so his mom goes, well, how can we help? And so he goes, I'm going to be a friend. And so he followed her home one day and found out that she actually lives in a rundown house. Her front door doesn't even shut. Her shutters hang off the edge. Her shovel is broken. Her I'm sorry, yeah, her shovel is broken and her pail doesn't even have a handle and it's all rusty. So she has a birthday coming up, and all his class, after he talked to the classmates, they decided to get together and get Puffy a present. And I tell you, it's a heartwarming book because sometime in our life, we've all known somebody who's a bragger. And, you know, this goes for kids too, and kids don't know how to deal with this. And it comes to it from a Christian point of view. They actually mention praying in there a couple times, and I just love it. So, what a bragger. You can find the link to it on my Amazon account, or on my show notes to the Amazon account. And I will be putting a book review on my Reading, Writing, and So Much More blogger account probably tomorrow. I won't be able to do it today. But a wonderful book. Wonderful book. And that, like I said, that's going to go to my granddaughter. She's only 2.5, but you know, every little bit helps sometimes. Earlier this week, I received something. Well, I received my knitting needles, like I said, my replacement. And I got some bare yarn that I'm going to dye, because I'm really getting into dyeing. I haven't done any new this week, but this book is such an inspiration. This is called Hand Dyeing Yarn and Fleece by Gail Callahan. And I actually saw this recommended on the Dyer's Notebook. She recommended this book. It is great. I mean, it goes through and it tells you the types of fleece that you could use. It tells you how to set up your area for dyeing, the things that you need. It talks about immersion. Then it goes on. I'm back in this area now, and this is setting off my creative genes. I can't wait to try this. This is a different way of dyeing yarn. Then there's a section called Color Power, which I haven't read yet because I want to do the other first, where they talk about different colors of things. Of course, they use crayons to show, and they have a color grid, which I need. And it even tells you how to cut that out and use it, but if I cut it out, then I can't have the other side. And then it shows you a color wheel. Yay. The only art class I've ever taken was when I was going to be a teacher, and it was talking about works. We really didn't talk about color wheels and all that, and I am rather a novice when it comes to that, so I'm really happy about that. The next chapter is hand painting. Oh, my goodness, it shows you how to come out with yarn with the different shadings, different colors. Dip and dye so that you can end up with a skein very similar to that. Hand painting like silk, hand painting roving, injecting color. I mean, it even talked, I never knew about this, dunking cones. I told my husband, oh my goodness, I don't usually use cones very much, but I still think it's neat. Then it goes back to basic immersion. Then half and half immersion, which is kind of what I did with this yarn, only I made it so it was a gradient. So this tickles me. Tie-dyeing. Oh, I should show you this. Dripping. Drip paint immersion. And then a tie-dye way, which I've seen that, and that's kind of what I did with my purple that I'm saving for a pair of socks. Tie-dye and drip dye combination. I mean, you could just tell this. If you have any fear at all about dyeing yarn, I keep saying my dyeing book to my husband, and he thinks I mean a book to help me, pass away. But if you have any fear about dyeing, this book really can put you at ease and takes you step by step through it. It's wonderful. I need to write a review up for this book too. Like I said, I saw this recommended on the Dyer's Notebook. She recommended another book too, but I don't remember what it was, and I don't remember which episode it was in. So I may have to send her a note and ask her what the other book was, because I love this one. And if her recommendation is that spot on with the other one, it's going to be great. Anyways, super book. Anybody who's interested in dyeing yarn, I've told my husband, I see a potential job for me, because I have a freelance writing job, but I don't get paid much for it. But if I could start hand dyeing yarn, that would be so wonderful. Yay! Anyways, oh, and the other thing is I'm still on my Whole30. I did great this week. I even went to a church potluck. Oh my goodness. Church potlucks can be horrible things for people on special diets, because half of the food was sugar-filled dessert. Now, thank goodness people like my husband and I brought fresh fruit. I was able to eat some fresh fruit. But even the meat, I'm not supposed to eat things that have sugar added on their labels. And I'm looking at meatballs, and I know there's sugar added in the sauce. I was looking at, I can't think what else it was. Oh, well, cream soups and things have things in that, have dairy or things like that. And I'm not supposed to have. I did find something I was able to eat, and I just stocked up on vegetables. There was a beautiful kale salad there. Oh, and I had it without dressing. I didn't need dressing. A kale salad, and then I had fruit. And honestly, I was fine. Yes, the sugar was tempting. But I also knew that in my bag, I always keep with me some cocoa-covered almonds, which are just almonds covered in cocoa powder. And I'm allowed to have that. So when I have a sweet tooth, that's just enough to help me out. So that's what I did. I then had a couple of those while other people were eating their desserts. So anyways, but I'm staying with it, and I'm feeling different. I feel like my body is losing puffiness. I keep waiting for this double chin to go away, but it's not yet. But I would highly recommend it. Don't let the fact that you eliminate these different foods keep you from doing it. It is helping me to discover what is and isn't, or what does and doesn't affect my body. And one of the things that really, really does is all this sugar added stuff. And eating naturally without this additional sugar, it's not been that tough. I must say the dairy is harder than the sugar for me. But that's okay. I'm doing well. And then something else that's made me really happy is a friend of mine from our church, our office manager, she had her first grandbaby this past week. Oh my goodness, all babies are so beautiful. And this one is no exception. So she's going to make a super, super grandmother. And Brenda, if you're watching this, I love you. Okay, those are the things that have been making me happy. Now we're talking about what I've been reading, watching, and listening to. I was wrong about my tea, by the way, before I go any further. This is Moroccan mint, not mocha mint. I don't even have mocha mint. Anyways, this is the part of the show where I like to talk about the things that I've been reading, listening to, and even some podcasts I've been watching. The only, shows I will talk about from TV would be probably PBS shows. Only because, I don't know why I'm doing that. I feel like I'm treading on Geeky Girls Knits podcast some when I talk about the shows that she talks about. So I'm just going to talk about, like if I talk about other shows, it would be what I'd be watching from my Amazon Prime account. So as I've told you, when I listen to The Hobbit on Audible books whenever I go gardening. Well, yesterday I went out and I didn't take it out with me. I could have come back in and got I have it on a little MP3 player, a Zune. And I didn't take it out with me, and I wasn't going to garden because the day before I did, and it irritated my arthritis. But my doggie wanted to stay outside, and anytime she wants to stay outside, I don't say no. So I went outside, and plus it helps arthritis if you just get 15 minutes of sunshine a day. So I went out, and I came right back inside because I keep my gardening tools right inside. And I went out there and I gardened for, I think it was 45 minutes without my Zune on. And I kept thinking, oh my goodness, I could have furthered the Hobbit's adventure. But I didn't. So I apologize for the way my camera is bouncing back and forth. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I'm making it go out of focus. But I do love The Hobbit. And I'm thinking after I finish this one, even though I have other books waiting, I'm probably going to go on to the Lord of the Rings trilogy after this. I haven't ever mentioned that when I go to sleep at night, this is so funny because my husband laughs at me. James Dale does a wonderful version of Harry Potter. And I love Harry Potter books. And so every night before I go to sleep, I turn on one of my Harry Potter books and I listen to it for an hour, or I have it playing for an hour. Usually I'm asleep within the first 15 minutes. But I listen to it. So that's something else that I do listen to. Let's see. What else have I... Oh, I've been watching Downton Abbey on Amazon Prime because I missed them. I feel like I've cut off part of my family. And I've made it through season 2 and I'm on to season 3. You know, Matthew and William both got injured. And William and Daisy get married. Even though she doesn't feel like she should. Oh, I love that show. So, anyways, I did that. Let's see. I told you. Oh. Okay, what I've been watching. I thought it was another book. I was going to say, I didn't bring another book over. Otherwise, the only things I've really been watching this week, I'm sorry, I've not made it to my podcast the way I want to. I did watch the latest installment or episode of Geeky Girls Knits, which was wonderful. She has a giveaway on there. Anybody who hasn't checked them out, if you like my podcast, you would love theirs. But I've also been watching The Dyer's Notebook, only because she really is such an inspiration to me. And both of those can be found on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube, or you can just do a search for them and they'll come up. On The Dyer's Notebook, I started that episode 1, and I think I'm through episode 17 now. And she's on like 200 and some episode, but I'm not skipping any because she is just full of wonderful information. She also sells her own yarns from Jinx Yarn, G-Y-N-X. And I really want to see about getting some of her yarn and trying it because she does beautiful, beautiful work. Anyways, that's it. I have been, you've heard about all the things I've actually been seeing, watching, listening to. I have watched, my satellite is so weird. If we have a little breeze, the reception goes out. And so, whereby I was able to get Mr. Selfridge, I wasn't able to get Grantchester this week. Broke my heart. I love that show. And all I've said about Mr. Selfridge, and I'll continue saying, as you can see, this whole series is bringing me so low because you can see how he ended up bankrupt. But the good news is Roger and Josie got married, and if you've ever watched this show, you know who they are. And so they got married on this episode. Anyways, I believe that's it for what I've been reading, watching, and listening to. The next part is the next part will be where I will announce winners of prizes, where I will let you know where I'm at, and just make general announcements. So you can hold on if you want to. Otherwise, it's going to, well, I'll let you know when I get there. So I'll be right back. I do like to give spoilers, or maybe it's previews of what's coming up in the next section. This is the section where I like to talk about, like I said, announcements or miscellaneous things, and where you can find me. And if I have prize drawings, this is where it will be at. Like I announced at the beginning, I still need test neuters. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to be putting it on Ravelry real soon. But I would be, it's far enough along that I could give, if you wanted to test knit this for me, I can take pictures of how far I am right now, and I would love to have somebody who's had some experience with a little bit of lace knitting, a little bit of, this, that, and the other for making shawls. Um, I want to make sure it's right. Like I said, this is in honor of my mother. I loved my mother so much, and I want to do something that's going to make her proud. So, anyways, looking for those people. I have no prizes yet. I have to have 10 members that introduce themselves. So if you haven't, go on to Naturally Kim's Knitting in the introduction place and introduce yourself. I did have Nanette from Covington, Ohio, introduce herself. Yay. Welcome, Nanette. Otherwise, like I've said at the beginning, I'll repeat this here, where you can find me online. You can find me on Ravelry. My personal account is Napier's Knits, and that's where you can find any designs I've done. The other is Naturally Kim's Knitting, which is the groups page. On Twitter, at KSNapier475. Instagram, I love seeing pictures from people. Knittin_Kim. YouTube, either Kimberly Napier or Naturally Kim's Knitting. WordPress, all one word, Naturally Kim's Knitting .wordpress.com. On Blogger, just like the title of the podcast is, Naturally Kim's Knitting. I look forward to comments. I look forward to seeing how many of you've watched, and hopefully finding some introductions in my thread this next week. I love you guys. Have a grand week knitting. Big hugs, and take care. Bye-bye.